This week we are discussing how Natmi has grown from its 1940s roots out of Pennsylvania into the organization that it is today, covering the United States and Canada. Join us this week on the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. Jeff and Kim are next.
Welcome to the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast.
Jeff and Kim to the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. Jeff, can you start off and give us a brief intro?
You bet. Hi, Chris. I'm Jeff Arnold, Executive Director of Natmi. I've been with Natmi since 1994, running the training and certification programs that we offer.
Yeah, Jeff, you've been with Natmi for longer than I've known about Natmi. Mr. Richardson, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Chris. It's great to see you. Kim Richardson, president of KRTS. We have a couple of other businesses that we're involved in, Transrep and in the rearview mirror. And I'm really excited to be on this show today, Chris and Jeff, because Natmi's near and dear to our hearts, and we've been partners with Natmi a long time. And I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today. So thanks for having me and Jeff, and thanks for doing this.
Well, of course, you know that I'm excited because I, support Natmi, proud to have my CDS, the Certified Director of Safety, and proud to be associated with Natmi and helping spread the good work that I believe that they do. Jeff, can you tell us, let's start off a little bit of history about Natmi. Where in the heck did it come from?
Well, I think a lot of folks know that, are familiar with Natmi is a program that's run under the auspices of the Truckload Carriers Association. And, does programs in partnership with state trucking and provincial trucking associations and other partners. But what probably most people don't know is that it has a pretty long and rich history. It's been around for a very long time. It actually was started in 1944 by a gentleman by the name of Amos Neihart, who was a professor at the Pennsylvania State University. And he is credited with being the father of driver education in the United States. So he's kind of, at least in the driver training arena, he's kind of a famous individual because he's really kind of got driver education started. And he was running the driver education program at Pennsylvania State University when he saw that there was a need for not just four-wheel drivers, but commercial industry fleet operators. And so he thought it would be a good idea to start a program for motor fleet supervisors. And so in 1944, he founded what was then known as the National Committee on Automotive Fleet Supervisor Training.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah. And it later got changed to the National Committee for Motor Fleet Supervisor Training. They took out the automotive fleet supervisor part of it. It originally offered programs for automotive fleet supervisors through various universities. It started just at Penn State University as a program there, and then became a consortium of universities that were offering the training programs. And Amos, brought together a committee made up of, and this is hence the name National Committee at the time. He brought together a committee made up of representatives from national organizations like the American Automobile Association, the American Insurance Association, what became the American Bus Association, the American Trucking Associations, and some insurance companies like Nationwide Insurance, Highway Users Federation, the National Private Truck Council. So they had an initial meeting in November of 1944 and founded the organization. And the Automotive Safety Foundation awarded $14,000 grant to Pennsylvania State University to start it. Now, I don't know what $14,000 is in present value, but I think it's probably a pretty good chunk of money for starting an organization. The objectives of the program were to serve as a central clearinghouse for developing training, furnish staff direction, and develop new and improve existing materials, and establish minimum standards for motor fleet vehicle supervisor training, and to do research studies in the field of motor fleet operations. And so that was the basis on which it was all started, and largely a lot of those original goals are still what NATME is about today. The program at Penn State started offering certification in 1955. So the certifications that we currently offer, most of them were started in 1955 when they started with the Certified Director of Safety, Certified Director of Maintenance and Equipment, Maintenance Supervisor, Driver Trainer. And they also actually had a Certified Pupil Transportation Professional designation back in 1955. That one lasted for a while. There was a pupil transportation organization that was founded in later years that ended up kind of taking over that certification. But NATME was also involved with bus fleets for some time. And there are a fair number of bus fleets to this day that, have certified directors of safety through NATME. And it stayed at Penn State until the early 80s, when Penn State kind of had some funding issues around the program. And so the program moved to Michigan State, where it stayed until 1993, when it once again kind of ran into some issues with university funding. And in 1993, the executive board voted to move the operations to the American Trucking Associations. And that's when it actually ceased being a university-run program and became, an association-run program. Although it retained university affiliation. And in that first year with ATA, it was still affiliated with Michigan State. It's had various other university affiliations since then. And if you'd like, I can get into how then it became part of the Truckload Carriers Association.
Well, I haven't heard that part before, so I'm interested, let me tell you.
Sure, you bet. So in around 2000, the American Trucking Associations kind of had changed its strategic focus, actually a little bit earlier than that, but it had changed its strategic focus to focus primarily on lobbying activities and kind of getting out of some of the auxiliary activities that it was involved in, including NATME. And so the Truckload Carriers Association, with its focus on education, was really interested in, taking over management of the program. And so in 2001, NATME transferred over to the Truckload Carriers Association, which has been overseeing the organization, providing fiduciary oversight since then. And TCA actually officially incorporated NATME as a nonprofit organization in 2003. It had always kind of operated as its standalone entity, but had not been formally incorporated as such. And so it is a nonprofit training and certification organization, and has been operating that way since that time.
And what year or why did it come to Canada?
We came to Canada in 2005, I believe, is when we first started a committee to review the curriculum and start offering programs there. We did our first courses, if I recall, in 2006 with the Ontario Trucking Association. And that's kind of how we got started there. We had an interest in offering programs in Canada for a long time, actually, since the name of the organization was changed in 1997 to the North American Transportation Management Institute, the name we have today, largely because the other name didn't make a whole lot of sense based what the organization did, and it didn't really describe anything. So we changed it to that, and our intent from that time always was to do programs both in the U.S. and Canada, and ultimately we'd like to even begin in Mexico, and have started doing some initial forays into discussions around that.
And that's exciting. And as a Natmi certified instructor, you want to send me to Mexico in March? I'm all for it. I might even go down for free. But
Yeah, you're wanting to go to the one in Cancun, I think, is where it
yeah.
is.
Hey,
So we've got Kim with us because there is a new push. I don't want to say new push, but the Canadian curriculum. Like, can we talk about how that's coming about? Kim, do you want to take that one on?
sure. Sure. I just want to go back to you going to Mexico, first of all, for free in March, because Jeff, we got this on this is being recorded. So
Well,
that's
when I say
great.
for free, I wouldn't charge to be the instructor as long as you picked up the expenses.
I got a plan already because that, it's really important that every once in a while that you be chaperoned.
Yeah.
Make sure you're doing a good job. So I'm going to go with you. We're going to take our golf clubs. You're going to do the course. I'm going to chaperone you as, my new role at Natmi. And then we're going to go and hit the ball. But I'm going to need, from you, I'm going to need 10 strokes aside. Still won't be enough to beat you.
What is your new role at Nat?
Well, I'll tell you, it's going to be a fun one. I've been appointed as their new chairman of their advisory committee, which is I'm really excited about. Jeff and to TCA, I'm really honored to be doing this. And Jeff and I had a conversation a few weeks ago, and this has been going on for a bit. Spoke with the folks over at Natmi about what the role meant, and what I would need to bring to the table and do. And I'm excited. I really am. It's more or less on the strategic side and content side and big picture and working with the group. And after Tuesday's meeting in Mississauga, it was very clear that this Canadian curriculum is in good hands with the task force. These folks here, they really have a passion, like you, Chris, like we do, training and education, and this new task force is I shouldn't say it's new; it's been around for a bit, but they've got some dates and some mandates and when things are going to happen, and I'm excited from the perspective of Canada here. Not to take any away from North America, because we have a ton of carriers and companies that cross the border, but we also have a lot of companies that don't. And spinning the Canadian content out is going to be good for all organizations, associations, most importantly, road users, and for those who are teaching it and participating. So, Jeff, I think I've got some of the mandate as far as dates and stuff go, but do you want to touch a little bit on the Canadian curriculum and some of the things we're doing to it, or does that work for you?
Yes, sure, absolutely, yeah. So the Canadian Curriculum Committee met in June in San Antonio at our annual meeting, and they identified the need at that time to create a program that was Canada specific. The current content we have is sort of cross border. It covers both U.S. and Canadian regulations, and so they wanted a program that would Canada for carriers that only work in Canada and don't cross the border. And so that's what the committee's kind of been charged with among other tasks, but that's the one that we met about just recently. And it's really kind of looking at what's in the current safety certification program, and that can be retained as is, because it's doesn't have anything to do with cross-border issues. It's just basic safety and those things that carriers that don't go into the United States don't have to worry about. Have those removed and add some things that are more Canadian specific, regulatory wise and workers' comp wise, things like that.
Oh, And for most of the provinces, you even use the right lingo there, workers' comp. Here in Ontario, we have to call it something different, but that's Ontario for you. Kim, just to clarify, your new role on the committee, that's a North American-wide role, correct?
Yeah. So the chairman of the advisory board for Natmi is again responsible for more of the strategic and big picture initiatives that Natmi has, other markets, where we on the good ideas that are happening currently within Natmi, and the focus on what needs to be improved. And what's really important from my perspective and from Jeff's perspective, getting his guidance is, it's not my job to get down in the weeds, but more or less be there with the group and participate and make sure that we're heading in the right direction. Because Natmi, you don't have to convince Kim Richardson or KRTS the importance of Natmi. We've been offering Natmi courses since 2007. Natmi is part of our career path at KRTS. And if you're going to be an instructor and work in our facilities, you must have your Natmi certification, not could have. If you come to our facility and you don't have it, you must have it within 1 year. We pay for the programs. We believe in it. I'm pretty confident in saying that the certified driver trainer, the certified director of safety, all the courses that are put on by Natmi are best in class. Not only are they best in class, it's a designation. This program falls under a university, and I think that's critical, and especially in our industry.
Yeah. Something I'm not sure, I don't believe Jeff knows. Kim, you may have heard me talk about this. I've been hired a couple of times, well, 4 times now, where I've worked for lawyers and, written expert opinion or been an expert witness, that type of thing. And a large part of that is because I do have my certified director of safety from Natmi, which is, with the university affiliation. So it's done great things for my career. Jeff, I know that you remember I got my CDS. I had to come to Denver, and I did it through the Colorado Trucking Association back in 2005. I didn't meet you then, but I met you a few years after that, or the year after that, I think.
I don't think I actually realized you had to travel all the way down here to take the class.
Well, it wasn't in Canada yet, and being that I was employed by Old Republic, and Great West was Great West Casualty was a great supporter of Natmi. Great West said, "Hey, get your safety guys to get their CDS," and we knew it was coming to Canada. That had already started that process, and so I went down to Denver and did it. And Denver was chosen because it was being facilitated by 2 Great West Casualty safety guys.
Right.
So I got to meet those guys as well. The Canadian curriculum, where does that stand? How is it moving forward?
We've got, as we mentioned, we've got the curriculum committee that's chaired by Michael Robinson and over at CAT.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Goes by the acronym. I don't. And there's a great group of professionals on that committee that are reviewing, that are helping the task force to create the new Canadian curriculum, but also looking at other areas of curriculum that we offer in Canada. So reviewing the safety certification program that we currently offer, as well as a driver trainer, and looking at launching the maintenance program in Canada as well, so that we can start offering the certified director of maintenance and maintenance supervisor. There's major revision recently done of the accident investigation program that also now includes metric, and so that it can be offered in Canada. So we've got kind of imperial and metric measurements in that, and so that program is now being offered both in the U.S. and Canada as well.
That's awesome. Kim, do you have any plans, or what are the future plans for expanding Natmi specifically up here in in the Great White North? What can
Well,
you divulge?
all happy, Chris, I'm pretty transparent when it comes to information. I think it's important that we communicate to the industry what's happening. And, the current president of TCA, Jim Ward, is a huge supporter of Natmi. He participated in Natmi many years ago. When he come on board as the president of TCA, he uncovered Natmi and said, listen, there's way too much more we can be doing here. And I'm excited us here, especially in Canada, Chris, you've been involved with us offering Natmi out on the East Coast. Just recently, Jeff was out working with Kelly Henderson and Trucking Human Resource Sector Council and getting some more instructors certified. And I think that's one of the big keys, is having enough qualified, certified instructors to deliver the course. And you did such a great job, Chris, and have continued to do such a great job with all of, our partners and customers. And I think we need to continue on with that high-end quality of instructors like yourself. And I know that we as a task force, we appreciate you agreeing to being a subject matter expert and participating in reviewing that Canadian curriculum. Just recently, as recent as yesterday, Mike Million, president of the Private Motor Truck Council of Canada, has agreed to join the task force. And also just as recent as this morning, Jim Campbell, very well known out in Winnipeg, and works heavily with a lot of carriers out there, has a first-class training facility, actually named first class, and he's going to be a subject matter expert as well. So Jeff has been working diligently with our task force up here. And the people that are going to be reviewing this curriculum are really knowledgeable folks who have a good grasp of education and training and trucking. So, Natmi was best in class before. It's going to be a hybrid of best in class in the future. That's for sure. I'm confident.
Well, if I can highlight one thing about Natmi that I think is really important, is that the instructors do have to go through a vetting process and then a training process before they can be allowed to give the course or facilitate the course, whatever it is that you want, however you want to say it. Jeff, how did that come about? Why did you think qualifying the instructors was important?
Wow. Well, that goes back quite a ways. When I first started with Natmi in 1994, we didn't have an instructor train the trainer program. And it was that experience that said we need an instructor train the trainer program. We had a lot of volunteers out there that were just that hadn't been trained and were teaching classes. And let's just say the quality was variable. and based on input or evaluations I was getting, I said, boy, we need to do something about this. And so I worked with our university partner at the time it was Indiana University of Pennsylvania to put together a train the trainer program for our instructors and make it a requirement. So I think we had our very first train the trainer in 1995 and have been doing it ever since.
I think, and that was one of the first times I ever met you, is I got sent to Colorado to get trained, and you were leading that train the trainer with the only other participant I remember.
Mike Woodrow, probably. Oh,
No,
sorry.
you did it, but with Mr. Guest.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
So-
Jeez. Hey, Chris, just to parlay a little bit about what Jeff's talking about in the accreditation with universities. We've certified, I don't know if it's thousands. We've certified a lot of folks through Natmi in Canada here and in Canada, other parts. But one of the things that we hear constantly is that one of the reasons they value their certification so much is it's not gifted, meaning that you don't just pay a fee, attend the course, and get your certificate. There's a number of people who don't obtain their certificate because they haven't done the work or met the qualifications. And I think that speaks volumes to this type of an accreditation process. And kudos to Natmi for doing that. That's important to us. Thanks,
And
Jeff.
one of the other things that I like about Natmi a lot is the odd time when I've run across somebody who decides to use CDS on their business cards and things like that, and they haven't done the full program. If I reach out to Natmi, Jeff is very quick to assist and have that removed, aren't you, Jeff?
Yeah, I've got some nice cease and desist letters.
It's valuable to me because, as Kim was alluding to, you know, and for the listeners who don't know, you have to have years of experience. Then you attend the 4.5 or 4 days of class, write an exam, pass the exam, and then the hard part starts. Then you have to hand in an online exhibit, and that has to be accepted. Once you've done all those steps, that's how you can become a certified director of safety. Same for the CDT, or similar for CDT. The classroom there is only 2 days, but I appreciate Natmi stepping up because I worked hard for my accreditation. I'm proud of it. And if anybody could stick it on their damn business cards, it would dilute the value that I get from it. So I appreciate Natmi backing us, and those of us who do have CDS, and there's literally hundreds here in Canada now.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate the efforts of Natmi to keep it valuable.
Yeah, and we appreciate it when we are informed about individuals who are falsely claiming that they've completed the process. We don't want it to be undermined by those sorts of activities either.
No, and I think that's important. Kim, you got a word to say there? I saw
this light bulb. Did you see something? I just, I just get so excited about this, guys. When I take a look at some of the people who become certified driver trainers, these folks, him or her, generally are drivers who want to move their career path along. And what we've seen is the level of confidence once they do these types of courses, specifically not being certified driver trainers. It really takes them to another level. And I have to say, they're really proud of it, of getting that designation. And the other thing is companies can use this as a reward because mirroring what we do, I mean, if once you get your NAMI certification, you also move to a different pay scale, which is incentive for some folks, not all, but for some. But developing a career path that includes NAMI, not only provincially, but nationally here in Canada, I think is on the forefront. I really do. I think that, Ontario, when they developed the MELT program, they wanted to know what courses were out there because we told them how much they missed the ball by not having certified trainers and designations. And it doesn't have to be only NATMI, but NATMI is certainly a program out there that I think everyone can benefit from for sure.
And for our listeners who may not be familiar with MELT, that's the minimum entry level truck driver training that started here in Ontario, has spread similarly in several provinces. And there is something similar coming in the States, I believe, to have a minimum entry level driver training. But
already have it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Kim, I think what you were alluding to is the instructors are not certified for that MELT program yet.
Well, yeah, let's just say that the qualifications to be an instructor in the province of Ontario are very lackadaisical. And that's no, I'm not knocking our government. I'm not knocking our industry. I'm just stating the facts. Together we can work in harmonization to improve that. But I also think it needs to be improved nationally.
Yeah.
If I'm living in Ontario and working as a commercial truck trainer, driver trainer, and I move to Alberta, what qualifications do they need out there? So our goal, and from an NAMI perspective, and it's something that I'm going to be taking to the committee, is how do we make this endorsed nationally in Canada at a federal level, where they say, hey, listen, here's the programs that are available if you're thinking about becoming a commercial driving instructor or director of safety, whatever, but specifically the driver trainer, because in every province, well, sorry, in very few provinces, the qualifications don't meet the importance.
Well, and we're talking about saving lives. When you are talking about training new drivers to operate 80,000-pound vehicles, we're talking about saving lives, and NATME can have an integral role because of the certified driver trainer program.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing NATME can provide is also a clearinghouse because of their database. So can you just envision if every province had one-stop shopping to make a call to say, can you supply us with all the instructors that have been certified for driver trainer, commercial driver trainer in Canada? And they click a button and they see all of the folks that are certified in the province. The province's bandwidth for getting stuff done is it's stretched. So any way that we can help as an industry to support them, isn't that the way it should be?
Well, anything we want our governments to do, we're spending taxpayer dollars. And there's
Yeah.
never enough taxpayer dollars to go around. So, yes, I agree with you. We should be supporting our government in other ways that can save them money. Absolutely.
No knock against our government, Chris, but we all know that in some cases in the transportation sector, because of promotions or job opportunities, some of these folks in government, they get in transportation, they don't know a fifth wheel from a Ferris wheel. And that's really not their fault, but it is our job as an industry to help them along and to say, this is a Ferris wheel, this is a fifth wheel, and here's the difference.
That's a great. I haven't heard you say that one before, Kim. And I thought I'd heard them all. But yeah,
I'm going to remember that one myself.
yeah.
It's no knock on our government, honestly. Like we work pretty
Well-
closely with the government, and it's not a knock. It's
Yeah.
just a laugh.
No,
Right.
just-
Well, they're not they're in a different. They're not in the trucking industry. They're
That's right.
Oh,
Something
yeah,
wrong
yeah.
with it, though.
yeah, exactly. They should be working with the industry to understand what the industry needs are.
Absolutely. And as we wind this episode up, Jeff, what are your hopes and long-term goals for NAT?
Well, I'd like to see our full suite of programs offered in Canada, as well as as well as some things we're not even thinking about, right? And we've got some great opportunities for expanding our online learning as well, in addition to the in-person programs that we do. So that's a big part of what I see coming in future programming.
Yeah, during
And-
COVID, we did several Zoom CDTs and CDSs.
And still are. There's still a desire for some virtual programs as well. So it's become a yes and rather than either or anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, the cost savings for not traveling, if you have to travel, is huge.
Right.
Mr. Kim, what do you see happening in Canada for NATME in the near future?
Well, I love what I'm hearing from Jeff. I've heard it before, and knowing that TCA, Truckload Carrier Association, is on board with this, and that they've actually appointed someone at a high senior level to work with Jeff, to give tools and resources and work together. That's really exciting as a partner. I think that the importance is that we stay focused. This e-learning opportunity, we need to go down that road because every other industry and educational body is doing it, and continue on the reputation of excellence, because NATME does have that stamp of being very reputable and offering excellent programs. I mean, we offer a number of other courses. I can confidently say that NATME is as good as it gets when it comes to professional education in our industry.
I'll point over there. Where is it? Right there. There's my Natmi certification. Yeah, I know I've got the old university stamp on there. Jeff, what's the current university that is issuing the certifications now?
Well, that's a pretty exciting new partnership that we have. It's the University of Denver Transportation and Supply Chain Institute. And they're the only university that receives scholarships from the Intermodal Association of North America. And so they've got a bachelor's degree in transportation and supply chain. They've got a master's, bachelor's, and I think they've stood up a PhD program.
Oh,
Yeah, and if you look at their board of directors, it's kind of a who's who in transportation. It's really an impressive organization. So um, that's who we're working with now, and there's a lot of exciting synergies we'll get through working with them.
Awesome. Jeff Arnold, director of Natmi, and Kim Richardson, KRTS. Thank you both for being on the Trucking Risk and Insurance podcast. This has been awesome. And for those of you who need more information about Natmi, there will be links in the show notes down below, right to the Natmi website. And if you've got questions, you can reach out to Kim or I. Or Jeff, I'm sure you'll field questions for us as well, Jeff. But thanks, guys, for coming on the show.